Give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
Hey.
Give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
Hey.
Hey, welcome to our Promotion Pro interview with Promote Her Business, where it is our mission to promote your business and each other. Say it with me now. Online, offline, all the time. And today we are in for a really great time because we are going to be talking about how to plan an awesome digital summit just in the nick of time, because so many women and entrepreneurs in our community, they're being increasingly asked to be interviewed at online events. They're also wanting to put on more online events to better utilize their time. And so I thought it would be a great idea to bring an expert, a Promotion Pro expert, onto our Promotion Pro Live. Many of you know her already. She is a chapter advisor. She's somebody who many of you have heard speak at the Capitol Club when she did her book signing. You also probably know her from our Here We Grow conference when she was on the panel and talking about marketing. She's a past marketing director of PHB, and she is just an amazing expert to learn from and whose principles you can really live by and trust. So I'm so excited to have with us today the Kim Warren Martin. And Kim is an illustrious and illustrative speaker. She's a Amazon #1 best-selling author, an Amazon internationally acclaimed best-selling author. She advocates living a life with a legacy mindset. What kind of mindset? Legacy, right? And she has this commitment to being undeniably audacious. So please help me welcome the one, the only, Kim Warren Martin. Woo! So Kim, are you with us, my dear?
I am here. I'm so excited to be here. And I just want to, first of all, I was going to look around and say, oh my gosh, who are you talking about? But then you said my name. But I want to give it back up to you, Joes, just for your awesome vision, for your leadership, for the spirit of collaboration that you have, and for really the compassion, the commitment, the concern, and the care you have for women in business. And literally, I'm living out the mission, right? Promoting our business, ourselves and each other, online, offline, all the time. So I want to give it back up to you as well. You deserve the hands up.
Well, thank you. I'm accepting.
That's how you're doing PhD, right?
You rock. So very cool. And it takes an army, right? Like it really takes an army of heart-centered soldiers that come in peace to bring promotion, to the universe, and always be on top of really what's the next thing and the best thing and new creative things to be on top of that. And one of those things that I really want the community to start paying attention to are doing more online events and digital summits. And Kim today is going to also be teaching us what she learned from the Successful and Fulfilled Summit. So can you just tell us really quickly, what was the Successful and Fulfilled Summit, Kim?
Sure. So the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit was literally just that. It was an online event where a number of speakers came together, and you were one of the amazing speakers. So thanks again for that, Joes, and delivered just from their experience and from their exposure for the women and the male allies that were tuning in. And literally we focused on personal development, professional development. We focused on business principles and then wealth principles. And so the event aired. Actually, I wound up with 22 speakers, or a total of 22 of us. And so the goal was really to air about a 30-minute talk each night, starting. So it wound up being like for 2 weeks, and we covered a Saturday, a couple Saturdays, and a Sunday as well. So it was a phenomenal way to bring some amazing content to the audience, and just pull together folks that I look up to and admire, and have them to be able to share some of their brilliance without jumping on planes and trains and automobiles and things like that. So it was a fantastic experience. Yeah.
That is fabulous. And I know I had such a great time being part of that and helping our promoter business community get known in a bigger way. And I also wanted to give you a shout out for, being intentional about shining a brighter spotlight on more women-owned businesses, as well as part of this awesome summit. So I know one of the questions that came up, and I think Kim has just given us a great sense of what her digital summit was like, but can you tell everybody in general, like, are all digital summits the same? What even is the definition of a digital summit?
You know what? They are not all the same. They are as varied as face-to-face events, can be. So it really depends on the objective and what, you want to give your audience. I have actually seen, mine was spread out over a number of days, like one speaker a day at a certain time of day. And the time we selected was, we're trying to cover all 4 time zones in the US. So you can imagine that, right? Without it being too early on the West Coast or too late on the East Coast. But I've literally seen some of them run just all day, one day, like for 24 hours, or 12 hours a day for a couple of days, or just, 4 hours. So it depends on the objective and, the value that you want to deliver. It doesn't have to be extended just for the sake of extending it. It really is about the value that you want to deliver. So it really is giving the content online. And I recommend, if you're going to do it, to have a standing time, not vary it, day after day if it's going to extend. My first experience with a digital summit was literally with the team of people that helped me to put my summit on. And they used to run something called 72 Hours of Power. And it was literally 72 hours around the clock. Speakers, motivational business, it just a lot of different topics. And they had it sort of segmented into a number of different rooms. And so 72 hours around the clock, you could go into a room and there would be content being delivered. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it gives you some idea.
That is pretty amazing. Sometimes people will say, they'll be like, oh, well, we have to do a summit at this hour, or no one's going to tune in at 11 p.m. And I mean, this just goes to show you what a variety of different types of summits there are. And it also challenges sometimes your beliefs about when you can do it and what you could do and how if people will show up, right?
Exactly. I mean, you literally could just do a lunchtime summit. You could make it a lunch and learn for, 4 or 5 days. So people will come if they perceive that there's value and they have a reason to come. So, yeah.
Very cool. So I know you touched on this a little bit, but I would love for you to expand upon this. And that's, we are so busy and we're doing one-on-one networking and we're driving to in-person events. Like, why should you pay attention to online and digital summits? Like, is it worth it? What are the benefits?
So so the benefits are on both sides. So like for myself as a business owner and as the producer, if you will, and then I think also for the audience as well. So it's convenience, relatively speaking, for the audience. They don't have to leave home. They can engage from the comfort of their own home or office or car even, right? If you happen to be stuck in traffic, although don't look at the screen, just listen to what's going on, right? So I think there's that convenience, but there's also the value of what's being delivered and the variety of the content that can be delivered when you don't have to necessarily bring everyone together face to face to get it done. And it can be live or it can be recorded. So there's a variety of different ways to do it. But you can get the value regardless. And so from this standpoint, again, jumping back on the other side from having produced the summit, there are a lot of moving pieces and parts, but I'll just say this. There were 22 speakers. In fact, my team, initially they said, okay, just, find 10 people that'll cover some content that you want to cover. And the guidance was to ask 20 because for whatever reason, you might wind up with 10. So I asked about 23, maybe 24, let's just say 25, let's round it up. And 21 said yes, and actually delivered, right? So, and I made 22. So now I literally have a library of content because, there were contracts and speaker agreements and things like that to be signed. But I literally have a library of content from some phenomenal speakers that I can take and slice and dice and put together almost any kind of way. I can redo the summit. I can put on mini summits. There were 3 focus areas. I could do 1 on each focus area. It just is so much value for your business as well. And even if you, I have a membership program as well. So in my membership program, I can also offer that to the members in that academy as well. So there are so many reasons to do it. You can do similar things live, but it's a lot of recording and editing and that sort of thing. And this was, we did it and it's there. And in fact, Joes, I still owe you the link to your video, I think. So I will say my follow-up with the speakers and getting them all the content and various things didn't happen as quickly as I wanted to. So I'm still in that mode, in that vein, because there were so many of us, but I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't have it, any other way because each and every person brought so much and with such sincerity and, honesty and commitment to really helping out the audience, as well as I was just really humbled and honored that so many people said yes to me. And because, I didn't pay my speakers. So many people said yes, and they took their time and, delivered brilliantly. So I'm still in awe of each and every one of you ladies and I think we had about 4 or 5 male speakers as well, which is awesome.
That was fabulous. Now I know people are thinking, well, how did she do it? Because sometimes, especially if you're just starting out, going up, approaching people to be your speakers, you might not be an internationally acclaimed author like Kim or as known on, the global speaking circuit as Kim. So Kim, what advice do you have for people, in the world of attracting speakers when maybe you're just starting out?
Well, I think, it's all about networking. And if I go back to the topic that you spoke on and, the promotion partners, etc. It's about networking. And you have to have the mindset of, okay, what type of relationship can I have with this person? How can I help them? How can they help me? You want it to be win-win. And so in that case, when I started to put together the summit, I really just outlined, I stay true to my brand. So let me say that first. You want to stay true to your brand. And if you need some help sort of figuring out what stay true really means, PHB is the right place to be. So you can learn from there. But I stay true to my brand and what I wanted to deliver. My brand is successful and fulfilled. And so I don't believe that you can be, fulfilled if you're, success, people say, you may have it in one area, but not another. So for me, I don't think that you can have true fulfillment unless you've got some level of success defined by you in each area of life. And for me, that's my relationships, my business, my finances, my health. So all of those areas. And so I was really focused on what can we deliver to help, the audience in all of those areas and to give them some insight into what my brand is about. And so that's where I started. And then I just kind of broke it up. Actually, I probably had more categories than 3 in the beginning. I go, nope, got to cut this down, right? I mean, you just don't need to make it so, so granular. So I had to cut that down. And then I thought, who do I believe has value to deliver, in this area? And frankly, the people that I called on are people that I know from various circles or circuits. And I asked them to just kind of stay true to their expertise and what it is they do. And then when I invited them or, approached them, I literally explained what the summit was about. These are the areas we're going to cover. And I said, I believe that you, because of, your ability to network with people and promote businesses, I believe that, you could speak well in this category. But if you think it's something else, then let me know. But most people stuck to the categories where I had kind of assigned them. And it actually worked out really well. So I guess bottom line, Joes, is be in the mindset of, as I was thinking about this and now post the summit, I'm always thinking about, who do I want to add to my list of people that could potentially really deliver content that we can partner up together. We're alike, but even if we're different, but it's value to the audience, how can we extend this relationship? And even now, as I'm getting ready to move into the world of podcasting, right? I think about, as I'm traveling, it doesn't even matter if I'm in an Uber car, right? And I'm speaking to someone, I make it a point to exchange contact information. I don't know where that's going to go or what it's going to turn into, but you have to sort of be open and, and to some degree, allow it to come to you and receive that as well. So I think if you're new and you're starting out, stay true to your brand. And you don't have to have 20 people. You can do it with 3, right? Who are the 3 people that you believe could really add value to your audience? And you can really do it in a half-day time frame, or you can split it up into, let's just say you only have 3 speakers. Well, you can open on day 1, have your 3 speakers in the middle, and then you can close your summit out. So if you do Monday through Friday, it can be just that simple.
I love that. And, and I think there's also an important message for people in PHP is sometimes I notice that speakers don't always say that they're speakers consistently. And something that I think we can all take away from what Kim said is that even if she's not going to go to your event tomorrow, just knowing that you're a speaker and having that in the back of her head so that she can pull on that later is very valuable. So I also want everybody to be thinking about, if you are a speaker, are you consistently saying that in your one-on-ones and group chats so people can recall that later, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is some of the speakers are not really speakers, they're specialists. And so I asked the specialists to speak on what they specialize in, if that makes sense. So you don't have to necessarily have a speaker. It's about the value that you can bring. And you may have to kind of help them out a little bit, that sort of thing. But for me, the value that I thought each person would bring to the audience, it was worth maybe tweaking the slide or something here and there, and maybe editing a couple of things and then asking them, is this okay? Is this what you really meant? So yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was impressive as somebody that was asked to speak was that Kim had done her homework ahead of time on who I was and what I could bring to the table. And, she knew PHP like the back of her hand and, how to best position us. And so because of that, I was more open to saying yes to participate because I was like, I trusted that she was pointing me in a topic area that would benefit her community and PHP's community, right? So it wasn't like she was just coming to me and saying, well, Joe's, I know you do something marketing or promote something, why don't you talk me through that? So, I mean, it was just, I think Kim's a great example of being intentional about her brand, being intentional about who she's approaching, where she wants them to speak on, and showing them in conversation that she understands them, right? So
Right.
it was really powerful.
Right.
Now, I'm curious, Kim, I mean, along the lines of topics, like how did you decide on what topics to go with?
Well, so I literally decided on sort of the buckets, if you will, and then I invited speakers and specialists to deliver some content in that area. And I did have phone conversations with everyone. So we kind of talked back and forth. For example, one of the speakers is a top, financial planner and money manager in the country, labeled that by Forbes and, a couple of other notable organizations. And she's amazing. And so there were so many different things she could have talked about. But she said, one of the things I find that small businesses don't do well, and in particular women, is estate planning. And, all the things that go into estate planning, your durable power of attorney for healthcare, for finances, all those sorts of things. It's like we make money, but it was important for me to talk about how do you keep that, or how do you sustain it? How do you grow it? How do you create wealth? And she's a 5-star wealth manager. And just to be able to, get 20 minutes of her time to talk through estate planning, So I felt it was just like really important. And so we just kind of talked some. And then for them, some of them, they would propose things and say, do you think that'll work well for your audience? So it was I guess it was a team effort. But when it came to PHB and Joe's, the high power connectors, the first time I saw high power connectors, I was like, this is really different. This is really unique. And people need to see this. Like outside of this room, people need to see this. And so we talked about that, and we agreed. And so it was one of two of those sorts of things with each person. And so there was a lot of contact. It's not something you can do just by texting people all the time. You do have to converse. There were times when we text and I sent emails and that sort of thing, and reminders, but you do have to converse with people, and you have to, I guess, call on that relationship and build on that relationship. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You actually have to have like a real conversation with words like that you can hear spoken, not just a message. That's what you're saying?
Exactly what I'm saying.
I'm trying to get my head around that. But I
put that phone, right? Or have coffee or do lunch or something like that. So yeah.
And I love that. I mean, I love that you're showing us that it is a team effort. And on the one hand, you were clear on your vision and what it meant to be on brand and not on brand. And you were picking people who were also on brand, right? As your experts of being successful and fulfilled, right? But then I love how you also had flexibility brought into that, because nobody knows their specialty like they do, So that's a great example of being able to, create more together than you either could independently. So that was really powerful.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious, on the technology side of things, what kind of tools do you need to really do online events and digital summits?
So I will say my summit was really more, it was like high end, right? Because there are some tools that I use that were proprietary, that were developed by the team that I was working with. How we were simulcasting when we were broadcasting, like on your page, on the PHB page, on my page, so that they have actually created some tools to be able to do that. And what was really interesting is a couple of the speakers, the gentlemen they're like 7-figure online earners. And so when I said to them, do you want to broadcast on your page? I need to get your persistent stream key. And they were like, my what? So because it's not something that people really use. I will say we did it on Facebook, and Facebook is amazing with all the things you can do to it. I mean, do with it, not do to it, but do with it. And so, so if you want to keep it simple, you need, like, for example, you could even do it with Be Live TV, like we are now. If you want to, broadcast in a live fashion like this and have it more be more Q&A, or you could do it live and you could intro your speaker and then just bring your speaker on the screen and have them to present. So some of the tools that we used, oh my gosh, obviously some people use PowerPoint. There was Zoom. There was, oh my gosh, on the back end, just the communication side with people who registered. There was, we were using ActiveCampaign, and we set up campaigns. And I don't know if we're going to get to this later, but one of the things we did there was to also, when you register, there were people received free gifts. So different, I guess, like books or various things like that, to tools that were in line with the brand. So to start preparing them, get the mind sort of thinking for the content that they were going to receive for the summit. There was all, obviously there was a website, so there's a registration. Everybody submitted photos, and the team actually was wonderful because they took out all the background. So it looked like everybody was just on a white screen, and like maybe we all did it in the same day or something. So the photos were phenomenal. It was just the text, we set up a text messaging reminder as well. And there's so many, like, you really, like, for what I did, you have a lot of work to do. Otherwise, you need a tech team that can kind of help you. And even with a tech team, because I wanted to be true to my brand and I'm very particular about certain things, I got in there and I was like, okay, there's an email that was scheduled that was supposed to go out at 7, at 5, not 7. The 7 and the 5 got swapped. So from then on, that first time, I was like, nope, I'm going to check every email every time. The first one should go first, the second one second, the third one third. And then after that, hey, we've already started. We're 15 minutes into it. Jump on. So there was that whole sort of there were so many moving pieces and parts. But so that was that one. So let's back up. But you can keep it really simple, and you can even record your speakers and play the recordings, when you say you're going to do it. You do need to announce when it's going to occur and start some marketing. Get people, I highly recommend getting people to register. So that way you have their content, their contact information, and you can send them reminders and things like that to keep them going. So it was email, it was text, it was just a lot of moving pieces and parts. And I would say by the 3rd or 4th day, I kind of had it like this, right? But it took a minute. And there was a lot of pre-work as well. But you don't have to go to that length to do it. I would just give a challenge, right? If you feel like this is the right thing for you to do for your business, do it. Keep it simple. You can do it within a couple of weeks, and you can get, just 3 people. And if they'll speak for you, you can do it live on Be Live. You can open like with a Facebook Live, sort of setting the tone, if you will. And then you can close after those 3 speakers have spoken. And, you will have added people to your list. You might invite people to something live. There's so much you can do with it. So I feel like I may be going out into the, outfield or whatever. I don't want to do that. So reel me back in, Joes. But there's just so much you can do with it. Like once you open your mind to the possibility of it, you probably have to go, oh no, that'll be something number 2, number 3, or number 4. Because I had to do that when it came to, certain things I got all excited about. So yeah.
Totally. And I'm curious, from a marketing perspective, people are, they're listening to this. We have our visionaries and creatives listening, which is always dangerous. And they're like, oh, I want to do this tomorrow. So the question is, the line between, wanting to jump in and just go for it versus like making sure there's people to listen to it, right? So how much time do you need to spend ahead of time marketing it, or, getting people in the right frame and anticipation to be on it, and any other tips around marketing?
Yeah, so around marketing, our goal was at least 14 days. So 14, days where, I was posting something on Instagram. Speaking of, there was another tool that we used called, I can't remember. It was scheduling posts. Some I made manually, but it was scheduling posts. And
was it kind of like a Hootsuite?
It was kind of like a Hootsuite, but it's not Hootsuite, and it's going to come to me. And I'll go, oh, it's this. It's going to come to me. But yes. And so one of the other things that we did was to create speaker graphics for each speaker so that we had, an opportunity to use those and as marketing as well, with each speaker's title. So it was kind of like each speaker was solo promoted with the graphic, and then shared that with the speakers as well, so they could post it, on their pages and groups and, places they wanted to as well, because it was a collaborative effort bringing the audience together. So when you're selecting your speakers, one of the things you want to make sure they do is agree to promote the event as well. And so share it with their audiences as well. So it was really that amount of time. And then also when people registered, dripping the gifts to them. Basically, we called it, gifts. Like I had a day zero gift, a day one gift, that sort of thing. And they were all aligned to the brand. So one of them just might have been on mindset around fulfillment. Like, what are your thoughts? And, different things like that. So they were all like just small pieces of content to consume. As we got into it, they got larger, because one of them was about writing your life plan, which was covered every area of life. And I think it was like an 80-page document. I don't know if it was scary to people, but if they looked at it, they could see that, oh my gosh, if I do this, I will have this awesome plan for moving forward in every area of my life. So we did 14 days was our goal. And then because it's online, people don't have to go anywhere. They don't need to, buy a plane ticket, get dressed up or anything like that. So we felt like that was a good amount of time. And then the agenda for who was going to speak when came out, I think, a couple of days before the event, because some people were writing in, well, when does this person speak? When does that person speak? And I'm like, so we'll finalize the agenda and we'll get it out to you. But in the meantime, plan to enjoy every speaker. So hopefully that is helpful.
Yeah, that definitely is. And what was really helpful to me as one of the speakers, and actually knowing other speakers, was something, we were saying things behind your back, Kim, and they were good things. Yeah, we actually really appreciated the fact that you gave us graphics that we could just put on our Facebook and have it done, as opposed to having to create the copy ourselves. And not only did you give us the copy, but you gave us this awesome visual. And I also liked that all the different speakers had the same feel to their graphic, so that it united us in community as speakers, because I might be the speaker that's wearing blue, and this other speaker wears purple and bling, and this other speaker is all about black and white, and you know what I mean? And it would look, it's not consistent. So I love how you keep bringing up how it all goes back to the brand, and how you are also very intentional about making it easy for us to promote it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if someone is doing that without a graphics team, if you are familiar with Canva, or, you can work miracles in PowerPoint or Keynote, you can create something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be as elaborate as that was, But consistency is so key when it comes to, the marketing and the branding and the feel of it, even in any gifts you may give out, right? Just even I was so particular. It was like, okay, what does the footer on that document say? Does it have the right address? Does it have, is it the right email? So, and I just happen to be that way, but but the consistency, and even in the look and feel, because people relate to it. They go, oh, you just know, right? And you see the Nike swish or swoosh, and you just know it's Nike without any words. And so when people kind of relate to it, right? And so it's very important in marketing to, if you're going to change something, you still have to find some level of consistency in it. So you don't want to change once you get started. You want to change. And I'll share something with you. I apologize, Joseph. It looks like my computer is getting low on power, so I need to grab this power cable. But even as we were going through the planning, and this is, and I don't think anyone even noticed it, but I literally had to wind up changing something. My brand completely shifted, like the words, right? And no one even knew, because the colors and the logo and everything was still the same. And it was a small thing, but it had to do with not being able to have the .com for it. I only had the .net. And it was sort of, how am I going to get the .com? What do they want to sell it for? That sort of thing, because that was put together by a different team. So you can see consistency really matters, right? Even in the people that you work with. But so we made the decision to shift, from Undeniably You to Successful and Fulfilled. Colors, logo, everything the same. And I was always talking about being successful and fulfilled. And so no one was the wiser when we made the change. And I was like, it was a nail-biting moment for me, right? But no one was the wiser. So do your best, nail that brand. And if you have to make a change, don't do it midstream like we did, because it did delay a few things while, but again, no one was the wiser at all. So then now I've trademarked that brand. Okay. So it is not going anywhere. So I couldn't do that with the other one. So now I've got a couple trademarks, which is really exciting. So yeah.
I love that. And I'm curious too, when we're talking about promoting, right? Like as a speaker, I might be thinking to myself, well, I want everyone to listen to me. But how do you move from having the speakers just promote themselves versus promoting the whole event?
One of the things I had in the agreement was that, we're and even spelled it out in one of the emails, is that, we're going to have promotional graphics. And, everyone can, and I said that what I would do is sort of give them, pair them up, to promote each other. And so I started with the pairing, and people did that. But then others were just like, oh, just send me whatever. I'll post them all, right? I'll post them all. And then some were a little more, they wanted to know more, like, who is this person you're telling me to promote on my page? What is their real message? That sort of thing. And so in a couple cases, I did have to explain that, but I said, bottom line is, if you trust me, you have to know I'm not going to put something on your page that is going to bring your brand down. So we have a choice. You can either post it or not. And either way, we're going to keep moving forward. So it worked out okay. And actually, in a couple cases where I didn't think people were going to post or run a video or something like that, they did anyway. So yeah, I guess it just goes back to relationship as well. So yeah.
And I really did appreciate the text. You would text me and you would remind me to post different things, because you get so busy, and it's not even so much that I don't want to, or I don't trust you, but it's just you're so inundated with your own stuff that having those reminders are so helpful. And I'm just curious because there's a lot of people who have asked me personally, Kim, about texting and text marketing, and is that disruptive or is that needed to interrupt people and, you know, bring them back to the importance of what you're doing? Like, how have you found text messaging to speakers and text marketing period?
So the text messaging to the speakers, I think it worked out really well. And the thing I tried not to do is just over text, right? Just text to be texting. And at the beginning, I said to you guys, you will not have to create all these different emails. I will create, you know, the content. You can just cut and paste it. And then here's the image or the graphic of the speaker that's gonna, you know, that's gonna speak. So literally all you have to do is cut and paste and pull in the graphic. And so that when you have to do something like that and it's maybe a 2-minute activity, it's very different than going, okay, write a post today about such and such, and and go to the drive and pull the image of so and so. Make sure you get the you know, version 2, not version 3, right? So my goal was just to make it easy and simple as possible. And so whenever I sent the, you know, just a link, right, just download this. If you just add that link in there, it's gonna copy this text. And actually, in some cases, the links were included in there. So all you had to really do was copy the text. So my goal was to make it as easy as possible for everyone, you know, to post. So the percentage of speakers that posted, you know, most of the content was extremely high. So somewhere around probably 80-85%.
Wow, that's really high.
Yeah. And then even after, you know, there were others that came back and, you know, might have shared a video, even if they didn't post it when we aired the, you know, the talk, they shared it on their page regardless. So yeah, so it worked out well.
So I mean, if you're somebody and let's say you found out somebody wasn't posting, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and let's say they were still, you know, a successful person, great speaker, would you, as the organizer, have them come back on to your summits in the future?
So I would, so I would say yes, but conditionally, because I would have a conversation to say, you did a great presentation. It was a blessing to the audience. And I know you have more to share. However, I you know, I want to make sure you weren't able to do the posting or the promoting. Is there something I could have done differently to have enabled you to be more, to participate, you know, in that area or greater? If so, then let me know. Or do we need to have some, literally, I will tell you, a couple of people just made me admins on their pages. They're like, when you're done, when it's all over with, and one of them in particular, it was like 3 months later, 2 or 3 months later, because that was December. Yeah, it was like last month. I go, hey, you realize I'm still an admin on your page? You might want to shut that down. And they're like, oh. So even in those cases, I did that for a couple of people. They just said, hey, would you, it'd just be so much easier if you could just do it, right? But ideally, you know, you don't want to have to do that for everyone. You really do want them to engage. And so, I mean, just the participation, everything I felt was phenomenal. It was amazing. And to your previous question, even with the text messaging platform, you know, I went in and actually I set up some, but I said the tech team to set up some as well. So we had the graphics in the text messages that went out. So those graphics were like everywhere. So that's why it's really important just to have the consistency. And I would even say in the promoting, because I had the graphics, I made separate videos. I just got on iMovie and made videos that promoted all the speakers. And then I was like, meet the men who answered the call, or, you know, just the gentleman. And so you could just slice it so many different ways and do so many cool things. Yeah. And even I don't know if you recall, but I did a personal intro for each speaker.
Yes.
Yeah, that was involved. My goal was to make it no more than, you know, 60 seconds, a few were over. and the music and everything, everything was all the same because we purchased, royalty-free music. And so just kind of really, I love what the team helped to create and the speakers as well. But, again, if you just want to keep it simple, if you've got some skills and video editing and you want to do all those things, you can take it to the moon and back. But you don't have to do that to be successful, to build a larger audience, to have grown business. So.
Now, I'm curious, you talked about introing, and I've seen some people do it very well. Your summit was, I felt like $1 million the way that you introduced me. I was like, I want to live up to her intro. And I love how it was, consistent, that you were doing these very professional intros for everybody. My question is, I've also seen other people on other summits be basically like, and now here's Kim. Like, how important is it for you as an organizer to do an intro?
I think it's really important. And the team asked me, do you want to take the simple approach or do you want the complicated one? And I said, so do you know who's on the other end of the phone? So which one do you think I want? So no, but I really, it was important for me, for the audience to know that I knew the people that I was bringing to them and to share why I invited them to speak at the summit. And then what value, that I felt like they were bringing to the watchers and listeners. And so that is actually why I did that. But it wasn't even really super complicated. I have an iPod on a tripod. No, my iPad on a tripod. I got those backwards. I just put up this green screen cloth behind me. We took this massive mirror down, like that beautiful painting you have behind you. And I put the green screen. And then actually, I started with green screen, then I scrapped it, and I go, let's just use a white wall, and let's just try not to have shadows. And then I just went for the intros. So you'd ask me about tools. This is another tool to add. So I have my iPad, and I have an app called Teleprompter. So I literally wrote all of the intros, and I loaded them into the Teleprompter app, and I read them, but you can't just read like you're reading. You got to read like you're speaking it, right? And some of them I ad-libbed some things even while I was reading. And then I was really particular because I didn't want to intro everybody in the same top or dress or whatever. I literally had, 10 outfits laid out and 10 pieces of jewelry, swapping things here and there and go, oh, wait, what did I say? What did I wear on Jill's? Okay, I'm going to wear this one on her. So, people may think that's excessive, but I feel like it really just kind of added something extra to it,
Absolutely. And I love how you so comprehensively thought about the brand from a company perspective, from a summit perspective, and then also from a personal perspective, all the way down to what you were wearing and when you were wearing it and why you were wearing it. Just that level of detail is amazing, and really what makes you as pro as you are, coming across. So very, very cool.
Yay.
So I did want to circle back to the question about text marketing, just because I know the audience is going to be like, come on, Jost, make sure she answers the question.
Are they typing in? She didn't answer the question.
So with text marketing, do you feel like it was beneficial? I'm not talking about texting the speakers, but I'm talking about actually having text messages go out to the people who've opted in to listen to the summit. Do you feel like that was a beneficial tool? Would you keep using that? Would you recommend it to other people?
I would absolutely recommend it. I totally feel like it was beneficial, and I would definitely do it again. But I think you have to be mindful of, with the texting, so we send a lot of email reminders, but with the text message for the attendees, we only sent a 10-minute reminder so that they wouldn't, or, a 10-minute reminder, or we would say, like, one of the Sundays, we did like a wealth Sunday because we put all the wealth talks on Sunday. So we reminded them of that. But also on my Facebook page, I had we're going to broadcast this at a certain time. And so for the text, if I remember correctly, for the most part, we only sent a 10-minute reminder. Each speaker did have email reminders, which I actually did the copy for. My team was like, okay, have everyone fill this in. And I was like, no, I'll just do it. Right? Because I just figured these people are super busy, and it's rather than have to go back 3 or 4 or 5 times and ask them for this, I can just, knock it out. And so I did. But the 10-minute text reminder, after registration, and the 10-minute text reminder was pretty much all we sent to the registrants, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't overkill. I will say that the messages appeared a little lengthy, but they also had a link to just, pop in as well. So, and I think there was a reminder to get that particular speaker's gift maybe after, I think. Yeah. But I think text message reminders are really good, because you can be 15 minutes out, and then let's just say the baby starts crying, or I don't know, you blew up your funnel like I did the other day. I was like, what happened? Was it GoDaddy or was it ClickFunnels? But, and then you get the reminder and you go, okay, I'll just breathe and I'll come back to that, and then I'll just go ahead and watch this. Or you can decide I'm not able to do it today, right? So, but yeah, so I think text message reminders are, shall we say, a godsend. I'll go that far. So, and there's any number of tools out there. I happen to use something that was developed by my team. It's proprietary, so I own it, right? So I own it versus, paying someone over and over on a monthly basis. But there's so many out there that you can use that are really very cost effective. And so to get a number, if they're just bringing up another tool, my text message number I got from Twilio, so Twilio, but I use the it's like Bumblebee text messaging because it's only half a cent round trip. So half a cent, so round trip it's 1 penny. So that makes a difference when you're sending so many out. So
Awesome.
Hope that wasn't confusing, guys.
So just write down the words that Kim is saying, and then you can go back and research it. I know we're giving you a lot of tools, but trust us, just you even knowing what these tools are called, so you don't have to figure out what they're called, is like a big deal. So I do recommend actually that when we put this in our Promotion Pro Vault, that you can go back and listen to it and be like, okay, I'm going to make sure I got all the tools written down if you missed it, because this is just going to save you so much work, just even knowing the words.
Yeah.
Okay? So
You're absolutely right. Totally. Yeah.
Very cool.
I literally have like a spreadsheet with all my, we call it creds, right? So all of my IDs and passwords, the team has the spreadsheet as well. And so it's nearly everything you can think of, websites, all the other tools and things like that. And so I make sure that I back that up all the time, and I have multiple copies in my office at home, and because that's, if I happen to not know where it is ever, that wouldn't be a good thing. So, and if not, I don't, some people store their passwords in a lot of different places. So that's maybe the next tool I need to get. So there's someone out there that can recommend to me a great tool for consolidating and storing all my passwords. I think someone recommended to me OnePass one time, but I haven't used OnePass yet. So if you're out there and you've got something that works and you've got like a bazillion passwords, type it in the feed and let us know.
Absolutely. And that, and that is part of our PHP community, is sharing these best practices and tools and marketing and so forth, because there's so many things out there, and really you're not going to use them all. You can only kind of read the reviews about them, but I trust it more coming from people that have used it. And Kim, I've definitely used LastPass. I am a fan of it.
Okay. I'll set up LastPass. Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So we're kind of getting down to the hour, but I did want to ask you, so what was the outcome? So, I mean, you had this awesome summit. Did it really help you grow your business? Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. In fact, I think I mentioned earlier that I'm planning to do it. Although I'm just kind of looking at how I'm going to roll that out. There's so many different ways I can do it with existing content, as well as even leading up to, you know, having a whole set of other speakers. But it absolutely did help to grow my business. My list alone grew over 700%. I know. That's a good number, right?
700%. I just want everyone to get that. 700%. Okay, go ahead, Kim.
So the list alone grew over 700%. And so now I have this whole other set of people on my list. And I am actually developing an online course. And so I've got other things I can, reach out to them with, et cetera, et cetera. Doing it very businesslike, not over extending. But it's just, I saw it 100-something%, and then I saw it 300% and 506. And then I looked at one morning, it was over 700, maybe like 746 or something like that. And I was like, well, let me shut this thing down and go back. Right. But it was great. So that happened, as well as I did. There were some people, I don't know if you guys recall that at the end of each video, speaking of the sales sort of portion of it, Joe's, there was a marketing and the sales. I had a piece that I recorded one time, and then we added it to the back of each speaker's talk. So the team was somewhere playing all that, right? So I added it to the back of the talk, and it just told a little bit of my story, talked about the brand and my Successful and Fulfilled Academy, and invited people to interview for the Academy. So it wasn't just taking, all signups, because a person has to be there's a person that's a right fit, for the Academy. So I did have several of those scheduled and got some new clients as well. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, oh my gosh, what was it? There's something else I wanted to mention on the backside of that. The list growing, the new clients. Oh my gosh, it just escaped me. Just got away. Okay, I don't know, but yeah. So it was absolutely worth it. It was absolutely. I mean, I'll do it again, and anyone that wants help putting together a simple plan, I can help. Put together a simple plan. Like, there's just something that, there are things that they can do, just set up a quick Trello board, right? And that's another tool to write down. If you're not using Trello, you may be using something else similar, but I like Trello. You set up a quick Trello board and just have your checklist, and you can just go and do it and get it done, and get the first one under your belt. Don't make it as massive as mine was. But it was a real, true experience that I thoroughly enjoyed, and just able to, I feel like, bless people's lives, as well as help other people in their business. Because these, there were people that they could contact. Maybe someone wants to do an estate plan now, or even find out more about an estate plan. Do I need an estate plan at this point? Or, how do I get into high-powered connectors? What's so maybe, so there's so much that can come from it, but you can't do it without that awareness. I was going to say something else about sales on the back end. I can't remember, but yeah. But the experience as well is phenomenal. And sometimes you just can't trade experience. There's nothing like experience. There's nothing like doing it. Nothing like walking it out, right? And learning your own lessons. And maybe some of the things I did, you may be saying, oh, I would never do that. Okay, don't. But you can still have a successful summit, right? And so I think that's what the conversation or this conversation is about. Like, How can it add value? How can it help you grow your business, market, and sell more? But I look at it as when I get clients, I get to help change a life. And so that's very important to me because there's a lot of other lives downstream from that one person that I'm working with. So.
Absolutely. And I know there were a lot of lessons for you, and there's definitely a lot of lessons coming out of today's interview. But if you could only leave our audience with one or two, best golden nuggets from today about doing a digital or online summit, what would you say to them?
So what I would say is it's well worth it. Do it. Start simple. You can even start small, because once you have some baselines, you can then scale it. And once you have a good process, you can, expand it. So I think as we were going through this, the team has done this before, but I don't know that they really had ever really documented the process well, because they just do what they do, right? So we got the process documented. And so that's phenomenal, because now they can just take it and maybe use it with another client or, something like that. And so I would say it's well worth it. Get out there, do it. First, keep it simple so you can get some baselines, you can have a process, and you can scale and grow it. And, it's definitely something that, you can repurpose the content over and over and over and over again. And that's the beauty of, 5-10 years from now, everything that was presented will still be valuable. It'll still be valuable. So was that like 2 or 10?
What I got from that is do it your way. Yes. And you can repurpose the content forever, as long as you're intentional, right? Kim is very intentional about the content and coming together as a team to figure out what that was. So it is a classic content to repurpose, right? Yes. So Kim, we're definitely going to continue this conversation at our PHB luncheon and roundtable so we can share more best practices. So everybody look forward to that, because we want to bring this learning to life and not just discuss it between me and Kim, but actually have all of you discuss it and talk about what you're doing or how you're implementing it, right? Right. But also, I really want everybody to get to know Kim, because you're probably listening to her and you're probably secretly admiring how awesome she is, and her academy, and just what she put together with her summit. So Kim, if people want to work with you personally or be part of your academy, how does that work?
So the best way is literally to text the word fulfill to 408-916-6963.
So it's 408.
408 916-6963.
6963.
And as a matter of fact, I am going to make sure that. Yep, 916-6963.
Okay. Text fulfilled. Okay.
Oh, fulfill. No ED.
Oh, no ED.
Right.
Okay. So right. Hide that. We're going to try it one more time with no ED. And this is why perfectionism does matter. Because you might have just subscribed to someone else's list. Sorry about that.
So what happens is they will get so when you text there, it gives you an opportunity to take the assessment, and then you can actually schedule time for me to talk to you. So that way, I get a sense of where you are, and we get on the phone and we go over the results of the assessment.
Very cool. And can you just tell everyone what is the assessment or the purpose?
Yeah, so it's actually the successful and fulfilled assessment. But it really is to see where people are on their journey to fulfillment. Have you even started? Is it something that you've even been thinking about? And when I put it together, it's funny. I had an experience once with a coach where it was like a 15-minute, discovery session. And prior to that, I had to answer like 4 or 5 questions. And so on that call, once we got together, the coach just said, "Hey, well, you're not ready for this." And I go, "Okay, so that's interesting. But so what do I need to do to get ready?" And there was nothing, right? Nothing. But so I always remember that experience because I don't want anyone else to have that experience. That sort of, I don't know, it could have been like borderline hopeless for me, but I'm too much of a, get up, get back in the game kind of girl. So what it does is even if, once I take a look at it, you're not ready for the academy, there are some suggestions of things you can do within like 3 to 6 months to see if you will be ready for the academy. So, and then you just take the assessment again. So it doesn't leave you hanging.
So you get value no matter what in your journey of being successful and fulfilled.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
And you get to talk to Kim, which is something everybody needs to put on their Trello list.
We just need to see, are we a good fit? Am I a good fit? And if not, that's okay, right? Because I want each person to have the best fit for them to help them along their journey to fulfillment.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for being with us today and giving us just invaluable insight into the world of digital summits and tools and technology and teams. And I mean, just being who you are for the world and such a support as our chapter advisor to our chapter and to our community. So we just really appreciate you.
And I appreciate just having this opportunity to spend this time with you, Joes. I have no idea who's watching or who's absorbing or when they will get back to it, but it's just so great to talk to you and just to, to have this exchange and to share. And my hope, my prayer, is always that it's valuable because our time is the most valuable thing that we have. And so I believe in getting every moment out of, the time that we have. So, yay.
I love that. And everybody, you can, once again, we're going to put this training in our Promotion Pro vault so you can access it just when you need it. So, you might go back and write down all the tools that Kim said. Also, 5 months from now, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, you know what? Now is the time I actually want to create my own personal digital summit. I better go back and watch that. Or, I want to see how Kim's doing it and as a role model of fulfillment, and apply for her academy and get that going as well, right? So very, very powerful.
I do want to say one thing.
Yes.
So one thing I really need to do is memorize that text message number because it's 913-6963. 408-913-6963. Apologize, guys. Ladies.
Okay.
913-6963. Yeah.
So here we go, corrected and updated. So let's make sure everyone has this. And what's cool is on BeLive, you can easily pop these things up on the screen so people can see them. So yet another tool. So 408-913-6963.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you for being with us, Kim, today. And we're going to send you a survey immediately following this interview so that you could let us know what else you want to hear about in the future in terms of marketing and summits and any other questions you have. And in the meantime, keep promoting your business and each other. Say it with me now. Online, offline, all the time. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.